program designed to develop young throwers' arms safely. We are excited to be launching our Florida Development Center at B3 Better in Jacksonville. To celebrate DVS, we are offering a free virtual coaches clinic and also giving away 20 free teen DVS and athletic assessments at B3 Better. To register for the clinic and your team's chance to win, go to b3better.com/DVS and secure your spot today.
The flagship station of the Jaguars, WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach, WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach. 1010XL is presented by Barra & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Old school.
Going to be stolen, I think, by the doctor. Yes, he's got it. Ray rocked the baby to sleep and slam dunk.
Stolen by Bird and the cut to DJ. Yeah! Buckle up for Kobe Bryant.
New era.
Oh! A jawbreaker! Curry way downtown. Bang!
It's all basketball.
A spectacular move by Michael Jordan.
Lace them up. It's time for 1010XL's Open Gym. Leading the break, here's RJ Saunders.
It is the basketball show for the basketball fan. Welcome back to another edition of Open Gym. RJ Saunders and Casey Dobson here with you. The NBA draft now has come and gone. We make our way towards free agency, which begins tomorrow, I believe, at 6 p.m. Eastern. A few players saying that they're going to pick up their player options. Teams saying that they're declining their team option on a few players already. Should be an exciting time across the association. We love this time here on the Open Gym. Before we begin, just want to say thank you to those who are listening today. Without you guys, this show wouldn't be possible. I really mean that. So thank you guys for tuning in. You guys are the most important part of the program. So the phone lines are going to be open today beginning at 12:30. Beginning at 12:30, whatever you guys would like to discuss around the association, questions, comments, concerns, 641-1010. That's also the number for the All-Pro Roofing phone line, as well as the Lifetime Enclosures text line. And then we also have the MyBookie Digital Studio on YouTube. Question of the day. For those of you who have a favorite NBA team out there, what's the biggest offseason move that they've ever made, in your opinion? If I'm speaking to Orlando Magic fans, I think you got quite a few. Shaq getting drafted. The acquisition of Tracy McGrady. Trading for Penny in the draft. Drafting Paolo. If you're a Lakers fan, you acquire Shaq in 96. You draft Kobe in 96. Miami Heat fans, of course, you're probably going to bring up LeBron and Bosh. Let me know your favorite team's greatest offseason move in your opinion. 641-1010. So the last we spoke, the Boston Celtics were in the beginning stages of celebrating their NBA championship. Last we spoke, this is now the sixth different team to win an NBA title. So here's my question to you, the listener out there. What happened to NBA dynasties? And do you miss them? Is there a reason as to why we don't have any more dynasties? You look at the Celtics and you say, with a big four like they have, with JT, JB, Kristaps, and Drew, it should be an absolute cakewalk for them, at least in the Eastern Conference, for maybe the next 3 to 5 years. Now, New York may have something to say about that. The Philadelphia 76ers, if they make the right moves this offseason, could have something to say about that. Do not sleep on our Orlando Magic. We'll be playing the song a lot next season, as well down the line over the next 5 years. You think that team's going to continue to improve. But you look at the Celtics team, who are the reigning defending NBA champions. You say maybe they're going to win the NBA title the next 3 out of 5 years. Heck, they could go back to back. Well, if you ask Draymond Green on his podcast, he's saying, not Not so fast.
Team is really good, but like in the regular season, it may not be as great. You know, they ran through the regular season this year. Sometimes you see a team like this come back and they fall to the 3 seed or something like that. 4 seed doesn't mean they can't win a championship, by the way. I said all of that to say I do think this team is set up to compete for multiple titles. When you talk about a potential dynasty, I don't quite see that happening because I think we got new rules and we got a second apron and all of those things. And like JT contract ain't kicked in yet. His new big deal that he gonna get, by the way, that man gonna get $400 million or something like that. Those things haven't kicked in yet. And so when those deals start to kick in, you start to hit that second apron, it just changes things. And I think, quite frankly, with those rules being in, I don't know if we'll ever see another dynasty. But right now, they have a chance quickly to build it. I think people start calling us a dynasty when we won 3. And so they got a chance to do it quickly, though. Quickly.
So I was going to try to break this down in layman's terms when it comes to this second apron, because I heard Rob Pelinka talk about it during the press conference when they introduced J.J. Redick as the head coach. So the new collective bargaining agreement for the NBA, which took effect around this time last year and is going to run until 2029, 2030, it makes it difficult for teams to sustain long-term success by including another luxury tax apron and withholding the taxpayer mid-level exception for teams who surpass it. In the words of Reggie Miller, I ain't buying it. I'm absolutely not buying it. In terms of second aprons and things of that nature, teams can figure it out if they want to bad enough. We've seen it for at least the last decade. Players can figure it out if they want to bad enough. We just saw it maybe, 72 hours ago? Look at the New York Knicks. New York Knicks trade a lion's share of picks to the Nets for Mikal Bridges, a guy who Brooklyn, by their account, was saying he's not available. So you then have this problem of, well, is OG Anunoby going to come back? You get Mikal Bridges, I guess, goodbye to OG. They found $200 million. Oh, boy. I don't buy this whole second apron thing. We just saw 24 hours ago DeJounte Murray get traded to New Orleans for nothing, Rob, nothing. Do your job. I'm sorry. I'm talking as a Lakers fan here. Should be neutral. But player-friendly deals, team-friendly deals, they do happen in the NBA. Now, players are moving and they're going different spots off of the value of $1. I don't blame them. I do believe the Celtics can be a dynasty. I do. I vomit as I say that. However, you look at the numbers, the last 6 years say otherwise. And every NBA champion, when I looked it over, you thought that they could run off a couple. Kawhi gets shipped off to Toronto after, I don't know what you want to say, complaining, whining, taking his ball and going home in San Antonio. And the Lakers wanted to give a Godfather-like deal to the Spurs. Spurs said, we're not helping you, L.A., and we're not helping Kawhi, who wants to be back in L.A. Take him to Toronto. Wins the NBA championship. Defeats a hobbled Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and the Golden State Warriors. And you're thinking that, I don't know how you just leave a team after winning an NBA championship and being named Finals MVP. But Kawhi, his happiness was predicated on going back to LA. And it seems to me it didn't matter if it was the Lakers or the Clippers. The Clippers were just a team that were willing to acquiesce to every last one of his demands. The Lakers, now, I understand we talk about the bubble. I understand we talk about COVID. But mind you, before we got into that COVID period where the world just stopped and the sports world just stopped, in the same week, the Lakers had beat the Kawhi Leonard-led Clippers and had also defeated the Milwaukee Bucks, who I believe many had coming out of the East that year. I think the Lakers were starting to figure it out. And I haven't seen a Lakers team that good maybe since the 2009 Lakers team with Kobe and Powell, when they defeated, unfortunately, the Orlando Magic. And the Lakers decided that they wanted to make wholesale changes because Durant, Kyrie, James Harden all go to Brooklyn. How did that work out? And you trade for Russell Westbrook. The Lakers are now trying to build themselves back up from that, and it's going to take a while. I am sorry. Bronny James and a 40-year-old are not going to help you in that cause. And I say that as a Lakers fan. Milwaukee, they win the NBA title. What the hell happened? Giannis, supposedly the best player in the league at that time, been struggling since then. Injuries aside, been struggling since then. Now has a new coach, new running mate, who reportedly isn't happy about being in the city of Milwaukee. Doesn't have a problem with the Bucks, but Milwaukee, not his style. Golden State, when we thought the dynasty was over for them, or we just thought the road to winning an NBA championship a lot further than we would like to give them. Defeat a Boston Celtics team who many viewed as the favorite. It's their time now. And they showed that they could do it again without Kevin Durant, a man who I believe extended the Warriors dynasty by about 2 to 3 years. He leaves. Golden State wins another title. The only two teams that I really do feel have a chance are the last two, Denver and Boston. Let's say they win over the next 6 years. Let's say both win 2 apiece. So both of them have 3 titles each. Are we calling those two teams dynasties? Or, in your opinion, do teams have to be that of the LeBron James Miami Heat-led teams, the Shaq and Kobe Lakers, the Jordan Bulls? Do you have to repeat or three-peat, which hasn't been done since the LA Lakers in 2002? But do you have to do that in order to be a dynasty? It's easy to move now for a lot of players. It's easy to move now. Don't give me the second apron crap. And a lot of this we can give to LeBron James. Love him or hate him. He is the reason why the game is now mobile. Jordan made it global. LeBron has made it mobile. Everybody can move and go elsewhere. No harm, no foul. We as fans, hoop heads, may have something to say about it because we grew up with the old school NBA. But it doesn't really mean much to the player. Not now. At least what we've seen, at least for the last 5 to 7 years. But I will admit, I miss the dynasties. We don't see, again, love it or hate it, we don't see a Miami Heat team going to 4 finals and winning 2. 4 straight finals and winning 2? We don't see that anymore. Whether or not you would like to call them a dynasty, San Antonio won 5 rings in a league that was dominated by the Lakers, in a decade that was dominated by the Lakers from 2000 to 2010. Robinson, Duncan, Parker, Ginobili, Robinson goes away, and then it's Duncan, Parker, they still found a way to win 5 NBA championships. From Shaq to Kobe to Powell, 5 rings in a decade. But I will say this, We could have a chance with that because we do see a lot of teams getting better through development. Also, making the right trades, such as in New York. Minnesota developing their young star in Anthony Edwards. You feel like Minnesota's going to be in the mix for the next few years. Houston is coming. Orlando. Room service. Here they come. San Antonio is going to figure it out. I don't think the NBA is going to allow San Antonio to not figure this out with Victor Wembanyama. OKC, last year's number 1 seed in the Western Conference. You feel they're going to be in the mix. So the squads at the top, such as the Celtics and the Nuggets, they do have to win now, as said by Draymond Green. Because I don't think they're making as much headway as one may think. Maybe Denver, maybe Boston, they bring it back and bring back those dynasties, those teams that you hate, those teams that you love, if they're your team or if you just like seeing dynasties. Maybe they bring it back, but according to the numbers over the last 6 years, we could be having a different NBA champion for the 7th straight year in the NBA. Like it, love it, hate it, let us know. 641-1010 on the MyBookie Digital Studio. Joe Blank, longtime member of the Portland Trail Blazers organization as well as the Houston Rockets organization, going to join us next to speak on the movement that we've seen so far around the NBA as well as the Rockets. I mean, how far away are they from being absolute terrors in the Western Conference? Also, we have some news for you at 12:30. You're going to want to hear if you've been a fan of this program. All that coming up on Open Gym right here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM.
Jacksonville Sports Island in the Sun. 1010XL.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Our returning champion, a basketball court sweat mopper from Jacksonville, Florida, meet Louis Cramp.
Great to be back, Merv.
There's only one category left on the board, Louis. People you can trust to repair your air conditioner. Your 10 seconds starts now.
Well, I'm pretty handy with tools around. Right, so my Uncle Steve used to fix transmissions, so maybe he could... Okay, sorry. I guess just call the guys at Bueller?
That's right, Louis. The highly trained technicians at Bueller Air and Plumbing have the tools and the experience to service any make and model of home air conditioner to make sure that you are cool.
Are you sure I can't just have a quick...
Yeah, we're done for today. Stay cooler with Bueller. Visit BuellerAir.com.
15,000 workers. I'm Brian Rose from Remedy Staffing. We survey 15,000 blue-collar workers each year to better understand what drives quality and dependability in our workforce. The survey shows when looking for a new job, the initial pay rate, job security, and safety while working are the most important factors for hourly workers. If you're an employer and would like to learn more about the voice of the blue-collar worker, please call us at 904-528-1933.
This weekend is going to be intense. The Ratified Credit Union Jacksonville Axemen are bringing the pain on Saturday. No pads, no helmets, just full contact action. Get there early. The Axe Women kick off at 5. The Axemen at 7. Tickets start at $10 and kids under 12 get in free. This might be your last chance to see Rugby League this summer. Visit jacksaxe.com for tickets and game information.
Find your why in your next career move at the First Coast YMCA. Everyone can get involved and make a difference in your community at the Y. And if you'd like to turn your passion into a fulfilling career, the Y is an equal opportunity employer and is now hiring youth program leaders, lifeguards, swim instructors, and more. Plus, Y staff enjoy benefits including free YMCA membership and free childcare while you work. Find your passion, find your why in a career at fcymca.org.
Org. Every team has an enforcer.
Whether you like it or not, I'm a hard hitter and I'm a straight shooter.
Tommy Mack is ours.
I say it like I see it.
Fridays on Jaguars Today, brought to you by Renewal by Anderson Windows and Doors on 1010XL.
Hey, it's Roger Moore, CEO of Loan Pronto. If you're like me, you're getting crushed by rising costs of everything these days. I get it. It's brutal, and credit card rates are ridiculous and going higher. That's why at Loan Pronto, we launched our Express Equity Line of Credit to bring you the relief you and your family need, using your home, your most valuable asset. We've helped thousands of people like you get fast relief with cash. The average homeowner who does this gets tens of thousands in just days and is able to save $850 per month in overall expenses. I'm talking life-changing money. Your money that you have access to right now. Listen, if you're ready to get control of your finances and get off the hamster wheel, call Loan Pronto. You can get approved for Express Equity Line of Credit in just minutes, and we can get your cash in less than a week. Stop digging a deeper credit card hole today. Call Loan Pronto now. 904-999-1508. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com. 904-999-1508.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. NMLS consumeraccess.org.
1010XL is presented by Barra & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Back to the action on Open Gym on 1010XL.
1010XL and 92.5 FM. It's the Open Gym. Glad you're here with us on a Saturday afternoon. Our next guest actually coming from an Open Gym of his own, and that's my big brother, Joel Blank. He was a longtime member of the Portland Trail Blazers as well as the Houston Rockets organizations. Now is one half of the Killer Bees. He and Jeremy Branham do a phenomenal job in Houston at ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. You can follow him on X at Pac-Man Joel. And again, he is taking time out of his busy schedule to talk some hoops with us. Joel, did you mess around and get a triple-double, my man?
No, man, I did what I do. Find shots and knock them down. Try to stay active.
Absolutely, man. Thanks again for coming on with us. The NBA draft is come and gone, and the Rockets select Reed Sheppard, who I feel is going to be a very good player in this rotation for Houston, and I feel he's going to play right away. What did you think about the selection?
Well, I think, RJ, when you look at the look and feel of this team over the last several years, they're building youth, but they were building youth that had one glaring weakness, and that was an inability to knock down shots on a consistent basis from outside. And so if they were going to take the pick, because there was a lot of rumors about them possibly moving out and dropping down, the right pick for them was Reed Sheppard. I mean, it wasn't a deep draft, and in other drafts, I heard a lot of people saying, well, Sheppard would have slipped. I don't know when you work him out how far he'd have slipped. He had a 42-inch vertical. He shot the ball extremely well. He was the best three-point shooter in the draft process, and he comes from a bloodline. Mom and dad both played basketball at Kentucky. He's a smart kid. He just turned 20 this week, and he's got all the kind of skills that they want. Udoka wants a guy with a long wingspan that can play defense, and they feel like he's got that. But he does one thing better than anybody else in this draft, and that's shoot the basketball from downtown.
Absolutely, and to stay on the Houston Rockets for just a bit longer, I was only in Houston for about a year and a half, but I watched a few Rockets games there, and of course you and I would speak about the team when we were in the office together. But Joel, I feel the Rockets are the next wave of young teams that are going to take the next step out west. They have the talent. They've built really well through the draft. They have the right coach. All I'm saying is hoop heads that are out there better not sleep on the Rockets this year.
Well, but the problem is, I hear what you're saying, but the West is so deep, and we saw what Dallas did, and we know that a lot of the teams, like New Orleans, just made the move yesterday so that they can get bigger, better, and stronger and more potent offensively, depending on what else they do. Sacramento's a good team. The West is so deep that the Rockets have a good young core and nucleus that I wouldn't break up for just any old trade. But I think at a certain point, whether one or two of those guys step up or that they identify somewhere outside the organization, they need a couple of go-to superstar-type players. There's a bunch of guys with a lot of talent, but nobody's really distanced themselves to say, I'm one of the top three superstar-type talents on this team. And all the teams in the West that are playoff teams have at least two of those guys.
Joel Blank, our guest, he is doing a phenomenal job in Houston, a longtime member of the Houston Rockets organization. He is now on the Killer Bees with Jeremy Branham on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. A name that we heard during the draft that could have potentially been a trade target for the Houston Rockets was that of Kevin Durant. Would you like a guy like that on the ball club when you're talking about needing to make a move for a superstar guy? Or do you have a name that would intrigue you to see the Rockets target via a trade to bring to this squad?
I don't think Durant was the right fit. I think from his perspective, he wants to win. He's 35 years old. He's only got so much left to give, and he wants to give it to a team that has a chance to compete for a championship. On the Rockets side, I don't think it's a good fit because, like we just got done saying, you've got 7 or 8 core guys under the age of 22, 23 years old.
Right.
And, to throw a 35-year-old into the mix with Fred VanVleet and Dylan Brooks and say that's a team good enough to compete, I just don't think it was the right fit either way. They'd love to have Booker. Booker right now, from what I'm hearing, loves Phoenix, and they love him. They don't want to let loose of him. They like Zion. If Zion could stay healthy, I think that when they talked to New Orleans, and Ingram was the guy that New Orleans was trying to throw out there, I think that if you would have thrown Zion into the mix instead of Ingram, maybe there could have been some more talks.
Right.
But they need a guy that fits in a lot of ways within the group that they have. And that means if you're going to go get a superstar, he's got to be in the age range. He's got to be in his mid-20s so that he and the guys around him can still mold, mesh, and grow together.
Absolutely, and it's going to definitely be interesting to see what the Houston Rockets do here, not only next season, but in the seasons to come, because I believe that this may be a team on the rise. So getting away from the Rockets for just a second, I want to get your overview on just a lot of things on the NBA on a macro level. I talked about this during my last segment, and it's normally conversations that you and I would have along with others that would sit there in the bullpen before you had your show with Jeremy Branham. What's happened to NBA dynasties over the last 6 years? We've had 6 different NBA champions. I grew up in that Laker three-peat era in the early 2000s. You saw that as well as, Jordan three-peat part 1 and 2 in the 90s. We've seen San Antonio. Is the dynasty era over in the NBA, in your opinion?
Well, look, it's hard to say that because if Boston's just getting started after scratching the surface so many times and getting close, the big thing for me was Milwaukee's misstep was they had to try and help Giannis out, so they got Dame. They thought that they were unloading a guy that loved Milwaukee, that was great for them, and Drew Holiday, thinking that he would be out west and it wouldn't hurt him. And then Boston went and made a real savvy move. And now when you look at the fact that in the finals, you didn't have to expend a single bit of defensive energy with Tatum and Brown, and all you had to do was deploy White and Drew Holiday on Luka and Kyrie,
right.
And the Celtics had a massive advantage. They're deep all over. They continue with Brad Stevens and company to manage the cap and draft really well. And Boston is a team that has a chance to maintain that kind of top of the mountain status for a couple of years. But with that said, Denver is maybe a piece or two away, and Denver won it last year. So they're a good team. Like I said, there's a lot of parity, a lot of balance, and a lot of teams that have at least 2 superstars. So that's the formula to get you in the discussion. And then how deep you get probably determines how many championships you can win. And right now, Boston has as much depth as anybody in the NBA, with with Denver a close second.
Joel Blank, our guest, he is one half of the Killer Bees. You can hear him on ESPN Houston, 97.5 and 92.5 FM. So Ime Udoka, who's the current head coach of the Houston Rockets, he was a longtime assistant before getting his chance at Boston. Phil Jackson, former player, but he coached overseas for a while before he got his opportunity in Chicago. Pat Riley, former player, was an assistant before getting his job with the Lakers. I think you can understand where I'm going with this. Jason Kidd coaching the Nets when he got his start, or Mark Jackson coaching the Warriors when he got his start, is completely different from a guy like J.J. Redick now having to coach LeBron, AD, and the NBA's most valuable franchise in the L.A. Lakers. I know I'm going to have to pull for him because the Lakers are my team, but what do you think of J.J. Redick and his potential as a head coach?
Well, I think his basketball acumen is good. I think obviously he played under Coach K, and he knows the game very well. But I think that you touched on it. To have command of your locker room, you have to get everybody on board, and not just 1 or 2 guys, or even with your superstar guys. And you've got the whole thing with Bronny now too, which is going to be an extra interesting dynamic in that locker room. If if I'm J.J. Redick, I am loading up my staff with veteran NBA coaches because I'm going to need all the help I can get to command the locker room and to make sure that all the troops fall in line and follow the game plan, because you've got a lot of guys that have been able to easily step over the coaches of the past couple years of the Lakers, and that's why they've had so much turnover at the head coaching position. I think JJ is a guy that probably ends up being a longtime coach in this league if that's what he wants to do. But in order to get to that level, you got to pay your dues. And I think that when you mentioned some of the guys you mentioned, Udoka spent years and years and years under Popovich and Brown and all the guys that he could learn from to make sure that he was ready for his first gig. You know, Jay Kidd got a different opportunity. Derek Fisher got a different opportunity. You mentioned Mark Jackson. Those don't go as well because, again, the first thing you struggle with is command of the locker room and the respect of the players. And I think that JJ's got a whole – doesn't matter what he did as a player. Doesn't matter, you know, all the other things. These guys make money too, and they're going to come in here and they're going to have issues and they're going to want answers, and he's going to have to answer to them. And I think it starts with him building a staff full of veteran assistants, and then he's got to develop a firm line of communication and a strict set of guidelines that he has to hold everybody, including LeBron and AD, to.
Final couple of moments with Joel Blank. He's one half of the Killer Bees. You can hear him in Houston, ESPN 97.5 and ESPN 92.5. So we've already seen a couple of major moves. Mikal Bridges to the Knicks, DeJounte Murray, as you spoke about earlier, to the New Orleans Pelicans. You think Paul George is going to be on the move here shortly, as well as Klay Thompson, with free agency coming up in a few hours. Who are a few names that you think are going to be moved in maybe a certain area in which you, as a fan or just as a basketball head, would say player X would work here?
Well, I like Paul George to the Warriors. I think that, you know, Steph's still got plenty left in the tank. Draymond, no matter what you think about him in terms of like proficiency to fill up a box score, he's a smart basketball player. He's an intelligent defender. And you know, they've got some young pieces now to work with too, to where if you can get Paul George in the mix, I think that's a good fit, and I think that the Warriors then can take it up a notch to try to compete again. Clay's interesting because if Clay wants to take less than the max, then I think the Warriors would love to have him. But the Warriors know, and we all saw, Clay's not a max player anymore. But if Orlando is willing to take that big jump and commit the dollars to him, then I think that that's the spot that I've heard he's headed. And that would be an interesting dynamic because, again, he's an older guy with a bunch of young guys on that team, and I don't know how that gels. I think the one that you probably would like to see the most is Chris Paul wants to be a Laker really badly, and Chris Paul would like to run the show for a guy that he's known and played with for a long time in J.J. Redick and one of his best friends in LeBron James.
Right.
Chris Paul would be a really, really good fit with the Lakers. They need D'Angelo Russell to move on, otherwise get a little creative in the way that they could possibly make that happen. But if Chris Paul goes to the Lakers, then I think you're talking about the Lakers possibly taking the next step.
I would absolutely love that, Mr. Joel Blank. Now, when you talk about the Orlando Magic, and it's funny that you brought him up because when I think of Orlando, and we talk a lot about him here, Paolo Banchero seems to be a guy that's being almost overlooked, I guess, right now. Had a huge jump from year one to year two. When I was there in Houston, we all were of the mindset that Paolo was coming to Houston before he was the number one overall pick, and you get Jabari Smith, who seems to be working rather well and coming along greatly in his development. But to go to the Houston Rockets, I think some people, unless you're a basketball head like us, Alperen Şengün is not really getting the look in which I feel he should be when it comes to a guy that's going to take the next step and is going to be one of the next great young stars we have in our league. What do you think Alpi has to do next season to catch the attention of the national media?
Well, I think it's easy. He has to stay doing what he's doing offensively, but he's got to show he can play defense because right now he falls out of favor very quickly with his coaching staff when he gets lackadaisical on defense, doesn't know where to go, doesn't know how to switch, doesn't know how to rotate, doesn't have the foot quickness to stay with guys on the perimeter when we know that it's more of a face-the-basket, stretch 4, stretch 5 league. And that's why the Rockets aren't willing to commit a max contract to him, and they've just recently come out and said, we're not giving to him this year. We're not going to do it till we have to, so we're going to let him play through another year. He's got to stay healthy. He's got to show he can play defense, and then he can't take a step back offensively with his passing and his shooting and his effectiveness to score the basketball. So I think that he has a lot of tools. His biggest drawback is he really is not a good defender at all. And even though he got better with good coaching last year, which he never had before, he has a long way to go in that regard. So the Rockets have said they're not going to go max deals on either Jalen Green or Alperen Şengün, and I don't blame them, because from Şengün's standpoint, can he stay healthy? Can he defend? And then the other thing is, if you're building around those two guys, the problem you have, RJ, is when Şengün went down with an injury late in the season, Jalen Green had his best month and a half of the year. But he couldn't play and do anything when they went through Alpi and ran the offense through Şengün when they were both on the floor. Both guys flourished when the other guy was not playing or was not playing well.
Right.
And that's something that they have to take into consideration, because it may be that they move on from both of them.
Wow. Joel Blank, our guest, ESPN Houston 97.5 and 92.5, giving us the latest on the NBA as well as his hometown team, the Houston Rockets, or should I say the team in which he is covering, the Houston Rockets. Final one for you before we let you go, Joel, and thanks again for giving us a couple moments of your time. Bronny James gets drafted, and I mean, whether or not he was on my team, I can't help but wish the best for this guy. I mean, people are going to look at this as nepotism. That's been the word that's been thrown around since he's been drafted, but he finally makes his dream come true. He's now drafted. He's in the NBA, now has to get a roster spot with the LA Lakers. But when you started hearing all these talks of whether or not he's going to go to the NBA draft, stay another year in college, he eventually decides to go to the draft. He's now in LA with his father. What did you make of this whole Bronny James saga?
Well, what I make of it is that Rich Paul and LeBron James are two of the most powerful guys in the game, and they can make anything happen if they want to. And the fact of the matter is LeBron had a deep desire to play with his son before he retired. And that's why he even left his options open on a year-to-year contract so that he could go wherever Bronny went if that was the case. But it was the worst-kept secret in the league that with 55, the Lakers were going to take Bronny James, and they dared anybody to mess with that by trying to take him. I thought Daryl Morey might screw around and try and mess up the process, because that's the kind of guy Daryl is and the things he does.
Right.
But Rich Paul made it very clear to every team in the league, do not take him because he'll go to Australia. He's not ready for the NBA. He wasn't a five-star recruit coming out. He didn't even deserve to be in the McDonald's All-American game.
No.
But he went from a four-star to a five-star overnight when his dad decided that his rating was too low.
Right.
And then we basically knew that if he was going to go pro, it was because he was going to the Lakers and he was going to play with his dad. It's unfortunate because of the fact that he is never going to get out of his dad's shadow, maybe until his dad walks away, and even still he'll be compared to him.
Right.
But he's not ready for the league. He wasn't a second-round pick. You give him the benefit of the doubt because what he dealt with his heart was enough to say any other kid would have stayed in college for another year, proven that he can play, proven he was ready for the next step, and then taken his draft position wherever he was selected. This is now too much, and maybe too much for him to take to be able to even be himself and perform, but it's what his dad wanted, and it's what the people around LeBron, like Rich Paul, wanted, so we'll see how it plays out. I hope the best for him, too. It's just that you got to be careful what you wish for, because it's what everybody else wanted, but I don't think he's ready.
I view him as my big bro. That's what he was during my time in Houston. That is Joel Blank. He's our NBA insider, a longtime member of both the Portland Trailblazers and Houston Rockets organizations, now on the radio side with the little show called The Killer Bees. He and Jeremy Branham are absolutely phenomenal. ESPN 97.5, 92.5. You can catch them weekdays there. You can also follow Joel Blank on X, Pac-Man Joel. Joel, thank you so much again for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk a little hoop with me, man, and hopefully we can do this again once the season rolls around.
Anytime, RJ. Keep doing your thing, man.
Absolutely. There he goes, Joel Blank, ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. The phone lines are open for you now. 641-1010. Any questions, comments, concerns, anything you'd like to talk about when it comes to the NBA offseason or the season that is to come here in a few months. When we come back, I saw this article talking about the greatest NBA draft picks of all time. Quite a few players got left off of this list. Also, just a bit of news for you who are fans of this program. This is Open Gym on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser start the week by giving the ball to the best back in Duval.
And off, Fred Taylor.
Monday morning running back with Fred Taylor is fueled by Epstein and Robbins and B&B Fuel and Lubricants on 1010XL.
Now those sound like some well-oiled machines. If you're a business owner that uses tons of fuel, you need B&B. If you're in charge of a job site that uses tons of fuel, once again, you need B&B. B&B Oil and Fuel has the fuel you need and will deliver straight to your site or office. Top-notch products and service delivered with B&B Oil and Fuel. Job sites, boats, generators, nothing but the best fuel with B&B Oil and Fuel. Online at bb-oil.com. Only the best with B&B Oil and Fuel.
3 bands. 1 stadium. Def Leppard, Journey, Cheap Trick. Together. 3 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame icons. Their biggest hits, July 10th, Camping World Stadium. Tickets on sale now at DefLeppardJourney2024.com.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Summer starts now at Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet with our summer sale. It's not sink or swim. We have vehicles for every budget and every need, starting as low as $79.99, and you won't get burnt. We offer 20-year 200,000-mile protection on new and 7-year 100,000-mile protection on used. Plus, we can really cool things off with our 30-day exchange policy. Start the summer off the way you deserve it with our summer sale at Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville. We're here to wow you.
1010XL puts the ball in play-by-play.
Kick on the way.
Impeccable today.
From way downtown. That ball's ripped.
For play-by-play, it's 1010XL.
I mean, we've all been there before, right? A weekend trip to the casino now canceled because real life came calling. What's going on, everybody? It's RJ Saunders here, and MyBookie's new and improved online casino is here to change the game. You can dive into a truly realistic casino experience featuring the latest in slots, progressive jackpots, and live dealer action, all from the comfort of your own home. The MyBookie Casino provides a Las Vegas experience where the action is in your hands. And guess what? You don't even have to wear pants. Start at MyBookie today with a generous sign-up bonus using the promo code 1010XL, and a revamped loyalty program ensures a host of exclusive VIP perks. Don't miss out on the revamped MyBookie Casino, and remember to use promo code 1010XL. The more you play, the more you win. Only with MyBookie.
Look out, world, we're getting strong. The future's here and we belong. She can STEM, she can do more. Like build a rocket and watch it soar. Or clean the oceans and make the world a better place. Oh, she can STEM, so can you. Find a cure, invent something new. There's no challenge in the world that she can't face. She can STEM.
Learn more at She Can STEM. A message brought to you by the Ad Council.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville, take your shot. It's Open Gym on 1010XL.
Can you believe we're just a few short hours away from the beginning of NBA free agency? This is crazy. Over the next few hours, some more players probably going to be moving to new places. Some players staying where they are. We'll cover all that next week on the program. Speaking of the program, however, next week potentially may be our final show. I'll call this season 1 of Open Gym. But all's not lost. This probably may be our final show next week on terrestrial radio. We have the Jaguars and the Gators season coming up. However, we'll potentially be moving to the wide world of podcasts that we have here on 1010XL. Maybe a bi-weekly thing. We don't have a start date for this yet. But I want to do some one-on-one interviews with former players, some former broadcasters, kind of do my own version of Knuckleheads, All the Smoke type of a deal, where you get the stories of a few players and a few broadcasters that you hear throughout your everyday as a sports fan, a basketball fan, to be more specific. I'm thinking potentially getting Jeff Turner as our first guy. Would love just to hear about his story and the time that he had here in Orlando when the Magic acquired Shaquille O'Neal, Penny Hardaway, made their way all the way to the NBA championship. So more info to come. We'll discuss that next week, should next week be our final show on the radio. Secondly, giveaway time. We're giving away yet another Orlando Magic swag bag. It includes a jersey. Before I give the caller number and what time you need to call, should next week be our last show, we have something special for you guys, and we've been saving it since the birth of our show, and we'll hand it out next week. It's an autographed basketball signed by a few of the Orlando Magic players from this past season. I really want a hoop head to get this, or a diehard Orlando Magic fan to get this, but that's going to be the big prize next week. But if you want the swag bag right now, be caller number 4 at 1 o'clock. Be caller number 4, 641-1010, and you will get the swag bag that includes a jersey, the 7393 on the text line. This man thinks he's a jokester. Afternoon, RJ. As a Lakers fan, I thought you would appreciate this more than the average basketball fan. Maybe you get to celebrate this next year with Bronny, and it's from the Boston Globe, and the Boston Celtics celebrating yet another NBA championship. And I said, you're blocked. He said, I love the show. I said, I love you too, but you're blocked. No more drill. No more Jaguars today. No more Into the Night with Rick Ballou. No more XO Primetime. No more Open Gym. Nothing. Do not text anymore. What happens? You go against the Lakers fan. Everybody had been warned beforehand, okay? Everybody had been warned. Now, Hoops Hype comes out with this article talking about the best draft selections in NBA history, and I'm trying to make sense of it because there's many names that are omitted from this, so I would have to assume they were saying those who aren't number 1 picks, because there is no Shaq, there's no Hakeem Olajuwon here, no LeBron James, Dwight Howard. They aren't on this list. So they gave their 21 best players. I'll give you who they had as their top 5. At number 5, Dennis Rodman. One of the greatest second-round picks ever was undoubtedly Rodman, who ranks 4th all-time in offensive rebounds, has 5 NBA championships, 2 All-Stars, 2 third-team All-NBAs, and 2 Defensive Players of the Year awards to his credit. Players selected right before him, names such as Arvydas Sabonis and Mark Price. Okay. Fair argument. Number 4, Manu Ginobili. He would go from barely getting drafted, and remember he was drafted as the 57th overall pick, to being a Hall of Famer. So 4 championships, was an All-Star twice, 2 third-team All-NBAs, and he was a 6th Man of the Year in 2008. Here's where it gets interesting to me. Number 3, Kobe. I'm biased. I'll say I like that. But they do say a lot when it comes to Kobe. So there was a lot of talent available after Bryant was selected, including 3 All-Stars, one of which was a 2-time MVP, Steve Nash. In the 4 picks immediately following Kobe, if the Lakers had missed on Bryant, there's a very good chance they could have gotten a star with one of the picks after him. And they named guys like Peja, Steve Nash, Jermaine O'Neal. And then, of course, they list out Kobe's accomplishments. But look at the players selected right before him. Samaki Walker, Eric Dan Peer, Vitaly Potapenko, who had a cup of coffee in Seattle. That's all I remember you from. Number 2, Giannis. Giannis? So a guy that spent time, and I guess they're probably looking at it from the storyline. I would have to assume this from the storyline. Giannis played in a third division of Greece basketball. Milwaukee takes a chance on him. Probably said he was going to be a guy that was going to be a developmental player. Develops, wins you an NBA championship. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. No doubt. It was a gamble and they took it. But the number 1 guy, I'm trying to figure this out. Nikola Jokic, the greatest draft pick ever? Ever? Now, I understand he was drafted while a Taco Bell commercial was on the screen. I get that. 3 MVP awards. NBA champion. So I guess they're saying from a guy who didn't get too much look at the Nike Hoop Summit or in his overseas professional career to being now one of the best players in the game and maybe one of the best of this era. He's the greatest selection ever. I'm not going to give it to Michael Jordan just because his name is Michael Jordan. But I want to figure out what's the requirements for being the best draft pick ever. Nikola Jokic, absolutely, without a doubt, one of the greatest centers of all time, and his career is still ascending. But you didn't put Luka Doncic here. Interesting. Michael Jordan was not here. They did have Karl Malone. They had John Stockton. But no Jordan, no Magic. And I guess you're saying because those were guys that we knew they were going to be great. It just was a matter of where were they going to land. You put Kobe Bryant on this list, and I would just believe because the guard coming from high school to the NBA had never been done before. Not saying a high school guy hadn't gone to the NBA a year before. Kevin Garnett comes from high school straight to the NBA. I don't agree that Jokic is the best guy. He could be in a list with a few others. But I'd love to get your thoughts. The best draft pick ever, or the best draft class. A lot of people say still 96. That's the Allen Iverson draft. Some people say 2003, the LeBron James draft. The Hakeem, Jordan, Barkley draft in 84. Can't forget Sam Bowie in that draft. Portland's still crying to this day. All right, we'll close it out here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. It's the Open Gym.
I open the door and take you inside the locker room to get you closer to the field, the players and coaches you care about.
Get a look at Hayes' blog on 1010XL.com.
My blog is brought to you by Roland Reese Plumbing,
where quality and experience count.
Mia here, and we've all been there before. A weekend trip to the casino? Canceled because real life came calling. MyBookie's new and improved online casino is here to change the game. Dive into a truly realistic casino experience featuring the latest in slots, progressive jackpots, and live dealer action, all from the comfort of your own home. The live casino is so easy to use. Just go to MyBookie and click Live Casino at the top. You'll find live dealers ready to deal or spin just like you're at the casino. The MyBookie Casino provides a Las Vegas experience when the action's in the palm of your hands and you don't even need to wear pants. Start at MyBookie today with a generous sign-up bonus using promo code 1010XL. A revamped loyalty program ensures a host of exclusive VIP perks. Sign up and hit the casino with promo code 1010XL. The more you play, the more you win, only with MyBookie.
Your Jaguars game day, your way.
Whether you want to see a division rival like the Titans, an NFC North opponent like the Packers, or a mix, deciding on your favorite matchups has never been easier with Bundle at the Bank.
Touchdown, Travis Etienne!
Get tickets to 3 or more games starting at just $58 per game. It's as easy as pick, pay, and play. But seats are selling fast, so visit Jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000.
Did you know Duck Duck Rooter is the area's go-to plumber? A 5-star Google-rated company, Duck Duck Rooter can take care of all of your plumbing repairs and upgrades. Need to switch from septic over to city sewer? Call the Duck. How about water heater repairs and replacement? You're just a duck away, or call away, for Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services.
When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769.
1010XL.
When I met you in the summer.
Jacksonville's summer station.
When I met you in the summer.
Where summer memories come alive.
If you're looking for custom metalwork, look no further than Superior Fence and Rail. Whether it's custom railing, shade structures, or custom entry gates, their expert team controls the turnkey process. From CAD design and raw metal to powder-coated finish and expert installation. When you choose Superior Fence and Rail for your custom metal project, you get a project that's, well, superior. So get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail today.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville, it's all hoops. Open Gym on 1010XL.
Coming down from the big house, the mothership, ESPN. LeBron James intends to opt out of the final year of his contract with the Lakers, worth about $51 million. A source familiar with his plans. That would be Mr. McMenamin. Dave McMenamin. Dun, dun, dun. I would like to think he's going to stay with Los Angeles now that they have his son. But news of the day. LeBron James opts out with the Los Angeles Lakers. This 1-6-8-1. How long do you think Paul George will take to decide? Is he going to have the entire league waiting on him? Well, you thought that was going to be the plan. Without question, he was probably looked at as the darling of this free agency, where the Clippers going to give him the 4 years, $200 million that he's asking for, or will another team give that to him? I'm with Joel Blank here. I think he's going to Golden State. I think Klay Thompson's gone. Chris Paul probably going to be involved in the trade. And he may be a part of this Paul George trade. And that sends him to the Clippers. Clippers buy him out. Goes to LA. Chris Paul does to the Lakers. I think Paul George is headed to Golden State. Now, the timing of that, I don't know. But it doesn't seem as if the Clippers are a team that's saying, please, Paul, stay. Please, please, please. It seems if we can't get a deal done, let's find a place in which you will. So opt in to your contract, and we'll make a trade with Golden State here shortly. And there's always players that are not supposed to be made available, or at least that's what's told, and then they're available every single time. Mikal Bridges was that guy. Now you got to figure out who's going to be the second guy. We are just a few short hours away from NBA free agency, and I can't wait to talk all about it with you guys next week here on Open Gym, which could be our final edition of Open Gym. For Casey Dobson, I'm RJ Saunders. Our free agency recap next week here on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Add an ace to your Tuesday morning.
The third ace in 4 days.
Brunch with a tour.
Tour news, tips, and inside info.
Brought to you by Clearwater Irrigation and Art of Natural Stone. Brunch provided by Chick-fil-A. 8:30 Tuesday morning on 1010XL. This is the flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
I'm Dr. Silas Norman. As a kidney transplant